Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to yet another edition of Step Chat here from the Floatress of Solitude here just outside Seattle, Washington. For those of you that I've not had the pleasure yet of meeting, my name is Steve Jones. I am the executive director of Float and of Aloft and a couple other projects, and I want to welcome you tonight joining me here amongst all this latex madness for another edition of our weekly fireside chat, as it were, where we camp out and chat about all the wonderful happenings of the floativerse that we are addressing and exploring and planning and plotting and scheming. Hello, Lorena. Good to see you. And hopefully Milton is there with you too. Hello, sir. Good to see you. Angela, as always, it's a pleasure to have you with us tonight. Thank you for being here. Yes, it is 6 o'clock, 6:06 at night, and I am, in fact, drinking coffee. I have had a couple of spells in the last couple of hours where I was almost falling asleep at the desk. Hello, Dina. Good to see you. And Blanca, good to see you as well. Thank you for joining us. So Friday morning, I woke up at 5 a.m. Went to breakfast at 6 a.m., worked on the computer through breakfast, got to the shop and built and worked until 11:55 p.m., prepping a job for the next day. The problem is the next day was in 2 hours because we actually had to install this job at 2 a.m. at the bingo hall. So I literally finished 5 minutes before I had to start loading the truck. And then we did the install and everything. Long story short, I was up from 5 a.m. Friday morning until 6 p.m. on Saturday between jobs and working and everything else. And I'm still, I got like 11 hours sleep last night, but I'm still feeling it. It's still a bit rough. So bear with me. Cheryl and Rose CBA. Good to see you, Cheryl. Thank you for being here. Sherry Hatcher, good to see you as well. Darren Sorry, good to see you, sir. Our Fulcrum, our free float guy from Fulcrum. Say that like 100 times fast. Mr. Aragoni, good to see you, sir. Thank you very much for being here. Gladys, our good friend Gladys, from formerly of Seattle, now in Mexico City. Good to see you, Gladys. Arlene, nice to see you as well. Tabitha Miller, I'm watching LSU baseball. I'm sure that's far more interesting than me. So there you go. Congratulations. Good job. So yeah, yesterday I was fine as long as I didn't sit down, right? The moment I sat down, you start like drop it, right? So I stayed on my feet for the whole afternoon. The part that made me the most upset, though, if I'm going to be honest, so we had a teardown. Well, we had an install that morning, on Saturday morning, and then the client was very insistent. We need you to come back today and take it down. And I said, well, we're not really scheduled to come back today. We can, come back tomorrow. No, I really need you to take it down today. It gets really windy out here. I'm really afraid something's going to happen, and I wouldn't want to have you replace something of mine if it gets broken. So I stayed. I could have gone home because admittedly, we were done with jobs by about 11 o'clock on Saturday. And sure enough, A to the L to the EXA, went straight home. She goes, I'm going to bed. I don't blame you. And she got sleep. So I plowed through the whole afternoon, working here on busy stuff, blah, 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 blah. I pull up to the house 45 minutes after the event has ended. There's still cars everywhere. I walk in with my dolly because I have to take a 100-pound base plate with me. And she comes up to me and stops me before I get into the more public area where there's 50, 60 people still sitting around in the backyard area. Yeah, we went long. Do you think it'd be a big deal to come back tomorrow? The problem, Tabitha's suggestion, of course, is sure for a huge extra fee. The problem is this job, one of the people at this party was a dear friend and colleague of mine who was actually the one who got us the job. So as you can imagine, I don't want to jeopardize her relationship with this person because I don't know what the relationship is with this person. But she's in attendance. So she's clearly a friend. So as you can imagine, I'm not happy. And I was very frustrated because again, it was like and it's not like she didn't blow up my text messages all morning long, right? She could have easily just said, "Hey, things are going. Can you save yourself a trip? Can we do this? Can you get? I'm so sorry." No, didn't do it. And I just. But at some point, you're just like, "What the hell are you gonna do?" Right? Brianna, good to see you. One of our fabulous instructors headed to float. Laura Sen, hi there. Good to see you, Laura. How you doing? Um, yeah, is there a name, Darren? Is there a name for clients like that? Not I. Besides a holes, no, I don't think so. Nothing formal. We should probably come up with something. That'd be kind of funny. Um, there's some very creative people in this group. I'm sure we could come up with some very clever names for people like that. Um, yeah, back in Circuit City days, many, many, many moons ago, we called people the only term we had for customers were called B-backs. And at first you're like B-backs, what the hell's a B-back? And it was those people that you would spend half an hour talking to, and then they look right at you and go, "Okay, I'll be back." And so everybody spoke in code, right? It was like everybody knew what a B-back was by that point. You're like, oh, it's a B-back. And that was kind of thing. So, but it would be kind of fun to come up with some slang terms for customers like this. Um, we had another one the other day. We don't. So, for those of you that don't know, here at the shop, we don't take walk-ins, and we don't allow. I mean, first of all, look, it's a bomb shelter in here, right? It's a workshop. Um, so we don't. We're not open to the public, um, and it's one of those things where somebody showed up the other day at the shop. I mean, literally showed up, stood outside, and there's a sign on the door. Sign on the door clearly says, "We are we are not open to the public. This is not a you know this is a workshop only. If you're interested in booking our services or whatever, you need to go online, go to the website, or call this number." Well, actually, I take it back. It says go to the website. It doesn't even have our number on the door. Lady goes, so there's a lady standing out there. So she goes to the first door, sees the sign, then goes to the other door thinking there's going to be a different sign on the other door. Same damn sign. And again, then somehow gets our number and calls us. And she's like, "Yeah, I'm outside your shop right now and I want to speak to somebody." And I said, "Well, ma'am, we're not set up for in-person consultations. So what can I help you with?" "Well, I want to book a party with you for this Saturday." And I mean, dear God, how do you expect me to do it if I can't even talk to you? I said, "Well, ma'am, first of all, you're talking to me right now. But this is a workshop." I said, "We're not set up for comfort. We're not set up for, we're here to work." And again, and let's be very honest, the number one reason why we don't meet people here is because we get sick and freaking tired, right, of people wanting to come in and talk to us for an hour about their plans, griping about the caterer, talking about the event, all this other crap. And then when all is said and done, they want to spend $100. And we killed it. We were like, we're not going to do it anymore. You'll do it online. And whenever I've broken that rule, it's bit me in the butt. So I told her no. I said, I'm really sorry. Really sorry. We're not going to do this. I'm more than happy, but again, well, how am I supposed to know what you have? Well, ma'am, you see, there's this website we have that you can go to. Yeah. I just don't appreciate this. I said, well, ma'am, I'm really sorry, but we're not a conventional business, and as such, we don't do work in conventional ways. And I understand, but at the same time, it makes way more sense for you to be in front of the computer, to look at images and this kind of thing. I don't have books and books and books of stuff for you to look through here. And the truth is, if you came in here, I'd just show you the website anyway. Well, about, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours later, get an email. Sure enough, it was her. And, still expressing her disgust and her frustration. But she sent a photo. And the photo was what she wanted for the party. Of which I was going to charge her $175 for. It was a column, an organic column. Never heard from her again. This is why we don't do this crap. And I took one look at A to the L to the XA. I said, this is exactly why we don't do this crap. I don't have the patience anymore to sit there and deal with all this. And in COVID, in COVID, we dealt with it, right? When the COVID pandemic was going on, we had no choice. We had to take everybody coming in the door. We had to take everybody coming in the door. And we had to sit there and listen to people talking about all their stuff. And even then, back then, it was to spend $5, for God's sakes. We had somebody show up at the shop today, car full of kids, walking up to the door. Oh, I wanted the kids to see all the balloons. Man, we're not an entertainment system. We're not here to entertain your kids. I genuinely feel bad for some of the party stores and things like that, or anybody. I remember one time, even back in our old shop, the original Step Chat location, where we didn't promote at all because it was like a garage, right? One day there's a knock at the door. I open the door. There's this little old lady and her grandkids sitting there going, yeah, I'd like to show her the balloons. I said, ma'am, I'm sorry, what are you doing here? She's like, well, I found you online. I found your address, and I thought my granddaughter would love to see all your balloons. But this ain't story hour. Am I tired and cranky today? Maybe. I don't know. Let's see here. Miss Stephanie, good to see you. Would you work with her again? If yes, what would you put in place because of this? Oh, well, of course we would work. I would, because a couple things. Number one, she's not that far away, to be completely transparent. It's only about a 15-minute back road ride, so it's not like I had to get on a freeway or anything. Secondly, they are immensely wealthy. The family is immensely wealthy, which means there's an opportunity there, possibly. Thirdly, there will be far more conversations up front. I'm one of those people that like, burn me once, okay, fine, burn me twice, right? You won't burn me twice because I'm not going to do it again. So in this case, everything's going to be spelled out very crystal clear. We are coming back. What time's the event over? We are coming back at this time. If there's a deviation from this time, you will pay for it. A lot of times when we have pain in the butt clients like that, we try to make up that money on the other end. The other side of the coin is, if we do in fact get another job for her again, which, to be honest, she was very happy with the decor. She didn't really complain about anything. Not like that. So I do expect to possibly get a call from her down the road. I will be sure to add on what that trip was to her next bill, one way or the other. She, either in an inflated price somewhere or what have you, but she will pay for it. So there we go. Mine go to the Curie list, known for our pain in the butt clients from COVID. They also earn a spot on our Curie list. Our team knows. Yeah, it's interesting. We actually at one point I did have a list like that. Back in Ohio, I had a list like that. I had a list of customers. Like there was a few that, like the very first one on there was the one that wrote me a bad check, and I was young enough, and stupid enough to take a check for a payment. A couple other problems, people like that too. But now, I mean, now with technology, we just block them, right? We've got one client in particular that for 2 years in a row has hired us for her daughter's birthday party at this very elite country club swimming pool, and she's always a pain in the butt. She always wants more than she paid for, right? We show up, well, I thought it was going to be more like this. It's always the same crap. But again, affluent and she's always dangling that, oh my God, my friends just love what you do. Oh, I can't wait. Well, after a full year of Murphy, God damn, excuse you. Um, um, After a full year of waiting for all these friends to call, right, and not getting anything. Remember, guys, I told you how he loves to push his head up against the chair, kind of like Roscoe used to rub his head against it. This guy likes to try to push the chair around. Um, the After waiting for a year of all these friends and neighbors to call, and then the second time around, it's like, and she ghosted us. She ghosted us, actually. Murphy, God damn it, would you stop, please? Yeah, she ghosted us on a job. She started texting me at 7:30 at night. Steve, oh my God, we got to get you booked for this event, blah, 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 blah. And I refuse to answer the text messages because it's like, look, at some point, I mean, balloon people all the time, I don't care. I mean, balloon people, even if it's float related, whatever, I will respond. But when it's general customers, they have to understand that, look, everybody needs, there's a time and a place to cut shit off, right? And yeah, so I just basically at that point, well, anyway, so she's texting me and all this crap, and I'm like, so finally after like the fourth or fifth text, I said I will reply to you during working hours tomorrow. Now I don't know what happened at that point, but so the next day I sent her an email, said here's the situation, blah blah, nothing, no response at all. 3 weeks, 3 consecutive weeks. Sent the email, no reply. A week later, follow up, no reply. By the end of the third week, clearly you've gone another direction. Blocked her on my phone. At some point, you're just not worth the crap anymore. Okay. Carlos Illusion Sanchez, saludos to you, my friend. Let's see here. Buenas tardes, saludos desde Zapopan, Jalisco, Mexico. Hey, Jalisco. Hello and welcome. Debbie Levy, if she was so unhappy with you, why did she persist in contacting you? I'm not sure which one you're referring to. Oh, do you mean because it was I thought it was going to be more? Because both Alexa and I, sorry guys, if I just triggered you, both of us, at the time we're like, it's not worth the fight. Let's just do it. Right. We'll just add a little bit more. And it was organic garland. So it was like, okay, fine. I'll go back in the van. There you go. You got more garland. But yeah, that's it. So, yes, Murphy, I don't know what the hell's up with your butt tonight, but come on. Come here. Maybe I can control you for a little bit. Hello, everybody. Here's Murphy. So let's see here. Jenny West, I've got TLC reality stars doing the same thing. Yeah. Well, celebrities are a different animal entirely. The lady at the door. Oh, wait. Oh. If she was so unhappy, why she was so contact? Because clearly she thought she was one of those people that I guess she, at some point, she wants what she wants. And then she wants to bitch about it. But like I said, the moment I sent the price, I said flat out, I said, we're never going to hear from this woman because again, you know damn well she wants it cheap. Do we get Murphy Monday early? Well, Murphy makes frequent appearances on Sunday night with Step Chat. No, tomorrow's episode of Murphy Mondays, you will see him enjoying vanilla ice cream for the first time. So, at least to my knowledge, the first time. So there you go. Mary Hohekian, one of our fabulous instructors coming to float. Good to see you. How you doing? All right, folks, let's get to the slideshow. There isn't a lot of content tonight to talk about. I'm going to be completely transparent. There really isn't. I told you guys before, we're kind of in that netherworld region now where we're waiting for the next. What's going on? There you go. Waiting for the next level or whatever for people to get to. What is going on? I don't have any clue what's going on. That's weird. Okay. Sorry about that. So let's go. So for those of you that were on last week's show, when Lisa and I talked about this, the idea was it was going to be the first Tuesday of every month. And Lisa was going to do a special episode of Kicking Back with Lisa Mack during the middle of the day to better accommodate our international friends. I thought it was a brilliant idea. I loved it. And we all agreed it would be the first Tuesday of the month. And the night before, Lisa McIntyre was like, oh my God, I'm so excited, blah, blah, blah. And then I swear to God, at 4 a.m. on Tuesday, my phone is blowing up with text messages. And it's Lisa McIntyre. Oh my God, I've totally screwed up. I'm going to be in the air with that during the show. She basically was like, I'm going to be, she's flying back. And she didn't realize that her flight was going to put her in the middle of the show. And unfortunately, well, first of all, I don't have the international connections that Lisa had. Lisa invites a bunch of people from different groups that she's on to be on the show. So I don't have direct methods of communicating with any of those people, really. Secondly, I had jobs all morning. I wasn't even going to be able to be on the show myself this time around because I was going to be out on installs and everything. Because it is June, and for us, that's a big deal. So unfortunately, Lisa had to reschedule the show till 5 o'clock. So happy to share with all of you that the rescheduled program with Kicking Back with Lisa Mack International Style will be taking place this coming Tuesday, June 10th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time. Now, to be fair, Lisa's excuse was valid, in my opinion. Not the flying part. That's not what I mean. Lisa was under the impression, because normally, if you guys notice on these memes, I will make the time Pacific Time. But in this case, with the Kicking Back with Lisa, I made it Eastern Time. And for good reason, because the vast majority of people are accustomed to Eastern Time, and I'm kind of going to be switching a lot of that over anyway, right? But Lisa assumed when she saw 1 o'clock, she assumed that meant Pacific Time, because all of my other signs do. So when she saw that her flight was situated, she was like, oh, I'm great, no problems at all. So there you go. Which, that all makes sense to me. But either way, it doesn't matter. So for those of you that are unfamiliar, Kicking Back with Lisa Mack is our weekly show that is basically a virtual happy hour. It's done through Zoom. You can call in live to the show, or you can just leave comments in the Facebook group, because the first hour of the show is broadcast live on Facebook. We're doing the show super early this week so that our friends from across the pond and in other countries can join in on the call at a decent hour, because when Lisa's show normally takes place, most of the European Union, for example, it's like 1 or 2 a.m. there. So by doing the show much earlier in the day, the hope is that a lot of our friends from overseas will be able to get on the call with Lisa instead. The first hour of the show is broadcast live on Facebook. And then after that, we go into what's called after party mode, where they stop broadcasting live, and people have a tendency to be a little more blunt. People have a tendency to be a little more honest. People tend to swear more. Double entendre flies sometimes. It just depends. But no, at the end of the day, it's a fun group of people to get together. And if you're new to Float and you don't know a lot of people, Kicking Back with Lisa Back is a great way to get to know some people before the convention. All you have to do is join the link that is, or use the link that is featured in the Float the Convention group. So if you're not a member of the Float Convention group, you should join the Float Convention group, so that way you'll have access to the link. So there we go. So yes, Lisa's going to her show, and I can only say so much at this point. You'll know more later. But yeah, so Lisa's going to reschedule her international show for this Tuesday, and we're excited to have it. So there you go, right there. Mary Hohikian. Someone finally said my last name correctly. Yes, I made it I made it a point to properly learn your name. I think it's important that people. I think it's important that people show people the respect of their name, right? If you can't, I mean, I don't mean to be disrespectful. I'm certainly, obviously we'll stumble over things, well, whatever. But like with float, it drives me nuts the people that spell float capital F LOAT. That's not float. Float is capital F, capital L, capital O, capital A, capital T. And people that have been part of my convention since the beginning spell it capital F, float. I'm like, guys, come on, man, do it. So there we go. So Stacy Chase, long day. Sorry, hi, good to see you, Stacy. Dominique, good to see you as well. Very good. Glad you're here. All right, folks. Speaking of Stacy Chase, don't forget this Tuesday is also our next virtual class through the Aloft program. Stacy is going to be hosting the class, Turning Customers into Clients with Stacy Chase. This is basically taking your average everyday, just single use customer and making them more environmentally friendly by having them multi-purpose, coming back to you over and over and over again through a series of different methods. Stacy's excellent expert at customer service. We're very excited to have her part of the class. If you are a member of Aloft, your invitation will be going out tomorrow morning. So if you are one of our Aloft subscribers, you'll get your invitation for the login information tomorrow morning. Jen, I love you always try to say my name right. Yes, and I get it wrong, like all the time. And you've told me multiple times how to say it, and I still screw it up because for some reason I haven't been humiliated enough. So there we go. Thank you, Dina, for posting that. Posting the link to the Aloft registration form in the Facebook chat. Thank you for that. Aloft is our streaming service that we provide, and it's got lots of great classes in there and everything else. And again, our next instructor is right up there with him with Stacy Chase. So if you're not a member of Aloft, you can either sign up and join Aloft before the class kicks off on Tuesday, or you can buy a single access pass at $25 by going to floatconvention.com/orange store. Orange like the color, store like the retail. Naranja tienda. But yeah, so there you go. Floatconvention.com/orange store. For $25, you get access to the class directly live, and you get a digital downloaded copy of the class. I'll get to that in a second. Okay. Let's see here. I have no idea what's going on here. I don't understand what's happening. I only have to compete with Lisa, LOL. No, Lisa's show should be over by then. At least I hope so. But I have a big surprise for everybody. For those of you that are going to be live on the class, you're in for a treat. Aside from Stacy's class, of course. So I won't be able to be on the live call Tuesday morning because I've got installs all morning and deliveries. And unfortunately, when I booked this class with Stacy, I completely forgot I have an install right smack in the middle of class too. And it's not even close. Originally, I thought I could start the class, and I still might be able to. But now the problem is we've got multiple installs Tuesday morning and multiple installs Tuesday afternoon. So chances are I ain't going to be there for any of it. But I have a replacement host that's going to fill in for me that I think you're all going to enjoy. Our good buddy, Tony Cooper is going to fill in for me as host of the class on Tuesday. So, yay. The original host, before it was Kicking Back with Lisa Mack, it was Tuesdays with Tony. And Mr. Tony Cooper is going to be filling in for me this coming Tuesday so that I can go do my jobs and everything else and still maintain order and all that fun stuff. So, yay. Very excited to have Tony joining us. Really appreciate that. Looking forward to the recording of the class when everything's done. Now, before we get too deep, I do need to issue an apology at this point to all the Aloft members. Our May class with Sharessa Walker, or Sawyer, excuse me, Sharessa Sawyer, the mental health stress class. I do apologize to you all. I can't lie. It completely fell off my radar with all of the stuff that was going on with the float deadline coming up in May, with the fact that Balloon Designers was getting busier and busier and busier, and several other factors that were going on. I just completely forgot that I had not yet edited this video. So I do sincerely apologize to all of you. I'm going to make it a priority. I can't do it during the daytime because, like I said, the next 2 to 3 weeks are insane for us here. June is our busiest month. As a result of which, I am going to do my absolute best to edit it at night, at breakfast in the morning when I'm, at eating my 3 whole eggs, and all kinds of other stuff. And I'm going to try to get it out to you as soon as possible. Technically, I have until Tuesday before I'm in kind of violation of my own code. So I'm going to try to get it out by then. So there we go. I'm glad to see so many people excited for Tony. Debbie Levy, Stacy Chase, Miss Stephanie, Sandy Presley, Jenny West. Sorry, yes, everybody loves Tony Cooper, as do I. Tony is a fabulous host. And again, to say nothing, not to Lisa is. This isn't a comparison, Tony and Lisa. Tony, they just have 2 very different ways they do the show. Tony is hilarious. Mind you, not sure. He won't be doing much of the talking in this, but I'm sure he'll be able to jump in with a wisecrack or 2 somewhere. So there's that. So with that being said, let's get back to the big show, which is Reno coming up in January. Admittedly, I don't have a tremendous amount of stuff to share with you tonight about Reno. Because again, we're kind of in a holding pattern right now. The one thing though that I've been talking about for weeks is that tomorrow is the date that our decor and function sponsorships packet is going out to everybody. No, it ain't. I sincerely apologize to our sponsors and to vendors and to anybody interested. You guys have been hounding me and like, come on, man, let's go. I apologize. I apologize and I don't. I apologize in that I've been telling everybody it's coming out on June 9th. I don't apologize in the regard I don't want to do it half-assed. There is still some information that we have been trying to get from people. There is still, and again, I've been trying to really send out a much more polished and professional looking content packets. I don't want this to look like I've thrown it together and be incomplete. I don't want to have to keep sending updates every couple of weeks. Oh, hey, new stuff, guys, blah, blah, blah. Technically, I could break it into more pieces than I'm doing, and that could work, but I really don't want to do that. I really want to get it out. So I'm not going to commit to a date today because there's still a lot to be done. And again, if I'm going to be very transparent with all of you, and I like to be, and I think I've mentioned this before on the show, but if I haven't, one of the issues with Float, a lot of you always say to me, like, my God, how do you do Balloon Designers and Float? And the truth of the matter is that I have to rely a lot on A to the L to the XA when it comes to the standard jobs and everything else going out the door. And I'm fine with the juggling when it doesn't become a problem for Balloon Designers. But when I have customers that I am not getting back to because I'm too distracted with balloon design, with float stuff, And I have customers that are getting angry or inquiries that are going unreplied to because I was too busy working on float stuff. That's a problem. And so now the float stuff has to be prioritized when we're not crazy busy, or lots and lots of inquiries coming in. With that being said, we are in the heat of it now, the worst of it now. So I try to go home every night now and spend at least an hour or two at home at night working on stuff. I try to get at breakfast in the morning. If I'm not super far behind on balloon designer stuff, I try to work on it, at the restaurant while Murphy's hanging out in the car. No, it's not. Don't. It's June, yes, but it's in Seattle. June at 6 a.m. is still 50-something degrees. So I'm doing the best that I can. I do apologize, but I don't want it to go out half-assed. So the sponsor packet will be going out before the end of the month for sure. I just don't know when. But there we go. So I do apologize to anyone that's been waiting for it. Friday was the deadline for the fashion show applications. I don't think we have 7. 7 applications were turned in. As I mentioned to you all before, there were 6 spots that were already open. I do know, however, that many of those sponsors are already looking at other people anyway, so I don't know what's going on there. The truth is, I don't think anybody's going to take this fashion show seriously as far as designers go until we get much closer to the event. And that's the truth. So moving forward for the convention as we go farther along, we probably won't promote it this early. However, I do want to share with everybody some updating on all this. One of the individuals, by the way, who applied to be in the fashion show found her own sponsor. And to be honest with you, right now we have 3 artists that are confirmed in the fashion show who all did that very thing. They all reached out and said, hey, I just talked to blah, blah, blah. They said they would sponsor me. I said, do they understand what that actually means? Because it's more than just giving you free balloons. They're like, yes, they do. And so I reached out to those sponsors and I said, are you aware that it involves a financial commitment on your part for float? Blah, blah, blah. Yes, we do. Please send me the bill. Oh, damn. Okay. Well, there you go. So 3 of the designers so far have found sponsors. So as of right now, we do have 3 artists confirmed in the fashion show. One of our sponsors with the 2 guaranteed spots has expressed an interest in one designer that I took the liberty of reaching out to and said, hey, this company's interested in sponsoring you. And now it's the whole wishy-washy back and forth crap. But it is what it is. So my suspicion is that we're going to have a lot more interest in the fashion show as we get closer to float. The problem with that, of course, is that, how's this going to work out? Well, I do want to remind everybody, and I've been getting questions. I've been getting a lot of questions from people about, specifically people about this. Like, number one, is it only people that are being sponsored that could be in the fashion show? No, anyone can technically do it. You could self-sponsor. You can sponsor yourself to be in the fashion show. Steve Jones of Balloon Designers, Seattle, Washington, featured in the fashion show, presented by Balloon Designers, right? But buying your registration to float and then being in the fashion show does not constitute sponsoring yourself. There is a fee that goes with the sponsorship to be a formal sponsorship. And what a lot of people are, well, what's the difference? Well, we've already talked about a few things. It's like, well, if I'm self-sponsoring and I got to bring my own dress form and I got to pay my own way to float, why am I not getting promoted? Or why am I not this and that? This is why. What I'm not going to do is create 50 memes for 50 people where 45 of them could bail out at any minute. That's it. That's it. If you are sponsored by a company or a manufacturer or anybody, If you are being sponsored to be in the fashion show, somebody has written a check for you to participate, which now means you have an obligation to that company, which means unless something goes disastrously wrong, you're going to be there and you're going to be in the show because you have an obligation to do so. If you are sponsoring yourself, there is nothing that I could literally make one of these memes for you and promote you for the next 6 months. And then 5 minutes before the show, yeah, I'm not going to do it. Ah, damn it. You found it. Shit. Sorry. I'd hidden the squeak toy. Apparently not very well. Or not out of reach, I should say. So the bottom line is very simple. If you are being sponsored to be at Float, and if the financial commitment from the sponsor has been made, then you will get a meme made of this, and we will be promoting you in this manner. Okay? The fashion show is such a great issue. Thank you, Sam. Thank you very much for that. And we are going to be doing a lot of, I'm going to really try to ramp it up. But at the end of the day, if you'll notice, first of all, I do want to say, Globos Naranja is obviously not a real company. For those of you that don't speak Spanish, that means orange balloon. That was my very first Chat GPT logo I asked for. I asked for a logo for a balloon manufacturing company called Globos Naranja using bright colors and bubble-shaped lettering, and that's what I got. Yay. So there you have it. You can't, in other words, you cannot self-sponsor and get this and be this level. You have to be a financially committed. You basically have to pay for the rights for us to promote you. That's the difference. And some of you might be thinking to yourself, wow, that's kind of cold. That's kind of cold. No, it's kind of business, right? At the end of the day, it's business. And we have to do this. We have a very big budget we have to reach to run this event. That is the bottom line. And so if people don't, if we don't have sponsors, we can't run this event. And as much as I'd like to say, I'd love to be inclusive. And like I said, we're not going to turn people away. If you send in a couple pictures of dresses you made, and you're like, I don't know if these are good enough for the show or not. Would you like to be in the show? Then let's give you an opportunity to be in the show. And then that way, that person, even if that person is not the greatest dressmaker in the world, they get to go home and tell everybody how they were in an international fashion show at the largest balloon convention in the world. I think that's pretty cool. And we want to give people opportunities. Float is about opportunity. That's one of the reasons, too, why teachers are not allowed to participate in this, because we're trying to give people opportunities. Right? Everybody's going to get their shout out during Float. We don't need the same 6 people getting every shout out. The intention here is to give more people the opportunity to be recognized for their talents and their skills. So there you go. Now, of course, if you do sponsor yourself, of course, that night you'll see your name up on the screen. You'll see all kinds of other stuff. You'll see yourself in pictures afterwards. You'll be promoting the slideshows and everything else. You just simply won't be getting pre-advanced promotion. Okay, that's the difference. All right, folks. Well, let's get to the street level float stuff as we get going here, as I like to call it. First of all, we'll start off with our Step Chat survey. And for the first time, if I'm going to be completely transparent, I think some of you were very disingenuous in your answers. I'm not going to lie. Today's survey was an interesting question. And honestly, it was kind of one of those topics that really go one way or the other. I had to come up with a third option, which I didn't expect anybody to say yes to. I take it back. Maybe back in the days of Qualitex. But let me finish. So the question was, what is your priority? What is the number one reason why you pick a class? Is it What's the number one reason why you pick a class? Is it the teacher or is it the subject? Now, back in the days of Qualitex, I would say that there were people that would say the brand, but I didn't really expect it now. 88% of you said the subject being taught in class. And I call shenanigans on that. And I'll tell you why I call shenanigans on that. I'm not suggesting that that's the only. I'm not suggesting that I'm calling shenanigans. How many times do I get told? How many times do I get told by people, oh, I know, I wanted to take that business class so much. I so wanted to take that business class. But why did you go and schedule blah, blah, blah's class at the same time? I just love her. Oh my God, I could not take her class. I hear this at every convention. Every convention. Multiple people sacrifice the subject of the class for the instructor. Every time. Fangirl. Fanboy. Now, am I suggesting that the numbers would be horribly skewed differently? No. But I think if everybody was really honest and thought to themselves, I think you'd see those numbers closer than what they are here. So, there you go. I was also very surprised to some extent whether the class is hands-on or lecture. I was surprised that only like one person picked that. When you think about the fact that but this also clearly reflects an American audience, because I think if this was an international survey, I think that number would be dramatically different. I think you'd see a lot more people on the hands-on versus practical. But then again, you also have to remember that in Europe, a lot of the big classes are like 20 or 30 people. Float can have 200 people in one room. So we just can't do that. But thank you, everybody, for taking the time to share your results. I do want to remind everybody once again that Float is on YouTube at youtube.com/@thefloativerse. And of course, our videos and stuff are uploaded there. And I am thrilled to share with you all that coming this week, if you remember back in February, Aphrodite and I did a live tour in Reno. Right now it's available on our Instagram. We're going to upload that to the YouTube channel. I downloaded it today. So that video will be uploaded to the YouTube channel for everybody to check out. I will probably cut out the Q&A at the end of the video, simply because some of that content is now very dated, because it was talking about, we hadn't yet opened registration yet. We hadn't done some other things. So with that regard, I'll probably cut that stuff out. We'll just show you the live video feed. The live tour itself. But yeah, we'll be uploading that to YouTube as well. I also want to remind everybody about the Step Chat YouTube schedule. Obviously, we're doing tonight's show live. The full episode with the fix that I'm going to drop in there will be showing on Monday. It'll be dropped tomorrow, and then on Tuesday, the summary version will be dropped in. That's our version that is abbreviated with just the highlights and bullet points that we share with the conversation. So that will be uploaded on Tuesday, and be on the lookout for that. I do want to remind you once again that if you prefer the abbreviated versions, the Step Chat summary, I am campaigning openly for people to watch them, because again, we're not getting the most views on these that I would like to see, based upon everyone screaming and yelling that Step Chat is too long. So with that being said, I would greatly appreciate if more and more people would start tuning into the summary so that we know that people are actually using the service. There is that. I also do need to remind everybody that there will be no show this coming Sunday, June 15th, which is Father's Day. As I have mentioned before, we have a incredibly long full day of on-site work for the University of Washington. We have to we are pulling the ripcords on 2 different graduation ceremonies that are back to back that day. So unfortunately, it's a lot of sitting around waiting, and then 20 seconds of excitement, and then a lot more sitting around waiting, and then 20 seconds of excitement. And then after that, In the same room, we have the graduation ceremony the next morning that's getting decor. So then we have to set up the decor that night for that event. And there you go. So we will not be here Sunday night on June 15th to host an episode. That show has been rescheduled for the next day, Monday, June 16th. So Step Chat will be on the following Monday. And as we have already discussed previously as well, in 2 weeks from next week, Sunday, 3 weeks from tonight, Sunday, June 29th, there will not be a live show because once again, we will be participating as a vendor supplier at the Seattle Pride Parade. With that being said, that is a very long day. And even though we will probably get back to the shop in time for the show, I will not be in any physical condition to host the show because I will be thoroughly exhausted and sweaty and smelly. And not that you'll know that, but there's no way. So that episode has been rescheduled for Monday, June 30th. And with that being said, that will do it for tonight's slideshow presentation of Step Chat. I do apologize to everybody once again. I have to move off the step because apparently, while I thought my computer was charging all day long, apparently the plug must have come out from the wall, and even though it was plugged in, it wasn't charging. So with that being said, I do apologize. I need to get over here and get plugged in because I'm almost dead. So there we go. Okay. I guess I didn't have it in fully. And I literally, as I plugged it in, I just got the you have 5 minutes of charge left notification. So there we go. So welcome to my other mess. Hey, look, it's Philomena's butt up on the shelf. That's kind of funny. Crystal Rutan, by the way, if you're watching this video, I have not forgotten about you. I was trying to track down her Chuck Taylors. Now that I have found them, Philomena will be en route to Nashville very soon. So there we go. So yeah, there we go. Oh, Dina, thank you very much for posting that there as well. Hello, everyone. Good to see you. Moore's Balloon Decor, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Thank you very much. Okay, so we got a few more minutes before I can roll out. So if there's any other questions regarding Float or the Floativerse or Aloft or anything like that, please feel free to throw them in the comments. Thank you very much for listening to me ramble at the beginning of the show. Greatly appreciate that. Come here, buddy. Everybody loves seeing Murphy. Let's get him up here. Everybody, Murphy, everybody. You know what? It's really funny. He never licks me. He never licks my face, except when I bring him up here, and then he does it. Like I'll get down, like you know, on the couch, on the floor, or whatever. Never licks my face. But God love him, he puts on a good show for you people. I was at dinner the other night, and hello, Elaine Holmes. Good to see you. It was last night, matter of fact. So in the summertime, there's a Mexican restaurant that is literally about 20 minutes or so from my house on foot. It's 7 or 8, 9 blocks away, maybe. I don't know. I can't remember exactly the length. But it goes through like a little vintage hometown, downtown area. So Murphy and I will walk from my house to the Mexican place, and we'll get dinner occasionally, like once a week normally, on my cheat day normally. We'll get dinner, and that way he can, because obviously he can't go in the restaurant, but he can sit on the patio with me just fine. And some lady came up and she was like, "Oh my God, can I pet your dog?" And I'm like, "Of course you can," because he just hates people. And the moment she gets down, she goes, "Boy, you're a portly little puppy, aren't you?" I'm like, bitch, you just call my dog fat? But he is definitely more solid than when I first got him. He was, I will admit, he's filled in a little bit in the last year. June 19th, as a matter of fact, will mark the 1 year anniversary of me and Murphy. It's coming up here pretty soon. So, yeah. But, yeah. So, 1 full year, dude. 1 full year. Putting up with me. There you go. So, yeah. There we have it. Well, I'm not seeing any questions in the comments or anything, so we will go from there, I guess. Of course, then again, if you, like I said, if you watch tomorrow's Murphy Monday on Instagram, you'll know why he's gaining weight. There you go. In fact, it's very very funny because I I, I had to have a moment of reflection after that woman made the comment because I thought to myself, first gotcha day, um, because I can't lie to you. So the other night when we had that overnight install that I was telling you about, so this young man here is very accommodate. He's very accustomed to leaving the shop at a set time, or at least as close to it as possible. And he was getting outright agitated Friday night. Like he kept like putting himself in front of me while I'm trying to work and plopping and dropping like we're going home now. And I'm like, no, we're not. I felt really badly for him, right? I did. I felt really bad because it really disrupted him. So the next morning after we were done with everything, I went to breakfast and I actually ordered him a side of bacon. So I brought him back here a side of bacon. Plus, on top of that, they always give him whipped cream at the restaurant. So I walk in the door with whipped cream and a side of bacon. Then after that customer, like, can you come back? There's a brand new ice cream place down the road from the shop. The price alone will keep me from going back. That's all I gotta say. It was very good ice cream, but the price alone will keep me from going back. And then he had an entire scoop of vanilla ice cream. Um, so I thought to myself, wow, he lives today. He's basically, and then that night at dinner, he's eating tortilla chips and chicken off my plate. Okay, maybe I do need to be a little more responsible as a pet owner. So there's that. So yeah, I did. Like I said, I got him the bacon because I felt really bad, because I knew he was very disrupted by that. But it is what it is. Okay, well, I'm not seeing any comments or questions in the section. So with that note, I am going to let you all go. Thank you all very much for joining me once again. I cannot emphasize enough. Sheriff Scort, my Boston Terrier turned 14 today. Congratulations and happy birthday. That's an old dog. Um, I once again I cannot share enough with all of you that how flattered I am that so many of you spend time with me every week here on this live call, and we just talk about a convention that goes every 2 years. Um, thank you so very much for being part of my life, for being part of my routine. Um, it's funny, people have said to me, it's like I really miss the show when you're not on. Um, the truth of the matter is, I miss you. I miss not doing it. That's one of the reasons why I always try to do it like the next day or something because I enjoy doing it. And I can only hope that you guys get a lot out of it too. Danielle, miss you. Oh, thank you, Danielle. Thank you for that. Miss you. Like I said, this is how I try to stay in touch with a lot of you guys too, because I really do. I care a lot about this industry. I care a lot about this world, the balloon world, and it makes me feel really good knowing that so many of you take time out of your busy lives to just hang out with me on a Sunday. So thank you very much. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being part of the Floativerse. Janice, I listen while sewing bikinis. I think we're going to end it on that note. So there we go. Thank you. Thank you, Dominique. That's very sweet of you to say. Thank you. Guys, you guys have a great night. Again, we'll see you on Monday of next week. I won't be on Tuesday's show with Lisa, unfortunately. I won't be on the live call for Aloft this week, so I apologize for that. I will see all of you next Monday. I'll see you a week from tomorrow with our slightly delayed episode of Step Chat. Okay? See y'all later. Thank you very much and take care. Bye-bye.